Good evening, everybody. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I'm so glad we're here with another day. It is November the 7th, 2024. And yeah, we're going to have a great evening. This broadcast, the one that we did yesterday, you remember that one went kind of long. That was like over 2 hours, okay? But this one ain't going to be that long, okay? Because that was just kind of a catch-up one. All right, so, and if you notice in the broadcast that we did yesterday, I actually split it in two to make it easier for you because, the first part, it was just looking at the election stuff and all of that. And then the second part was more of a preview of something we're going to be getting into soon. I would say probably starting this weekend. And as far as this whole reconstructionist mindset that we have to have. And how certain things are just, it's time for them to come down, and we're going to deal with that. Okay. So if you want to, when you go to that video, just take note of that. If you just want to skip and just kind of go to that section, you can now do that. Okay. All right. Well, we're just going to give people about a little over a minute here to jump on and shout out, of course, to everybody in the chat. And yeah. We're going to have a good day here. Unlike a lot of the people that are still on social media losing their minds. I mean, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And the very people that's supposed to be the carriers of peace, they just as bad. They out here spreading all kind of lies and misinformation and interweaving the Bible to justify all of it. It's crazy. So we're gonna touch on some of that this evening during this broadcast. All right, so about a minute to go, and then we're going to get started. If you haven't subscribed by now to our Samba Tree YouTube page, make sure you do that. We got a lot of videos on there, certainly not as many as these videos here on this platform, but we're going to take a trip over to the Samba Tree YouTube page. But also, you go to sambatree.com. That's who this is sponsored by sambatree.com. If you're looking for health and wellness goods, natural goods, then make sure you go over there because we don't just sit up here and talk about things. We're about solutions on this platform. And in nature, there's a whole bunch of solutions that are just sitting there, just staring at us, and we got to use it. And so we talk about that and we got a whole bunch of stuff on there. So anyway, a little over 10 seconds here, and then we're going to get started. Appreciate each and every one of you being here tonight. So glad that you're here. If you notice, I haven't put the started a trend. I know that kind of messed y'all up a little bit with me doing the whole the animated GIFs, and I was trying to do it every night, but I'm getting ready to say the Olympics. I guess I will call it the Olympics of Fools. How about that? The elections kind of threw things off for me a little bit. But last night, I was going to post something on the community page, and man, I fell asleep. Next thing I know, it was in the wee hours of the morning. I mean, it was yeah. So that was my fault. But tonight, I will try to make sure to get that. I'm trying to turn this fan on. I will make sure to try to get that, get an animated GIF out there for y'all, okay? All righty, so let's go ahead and begin. Again, one more time, thank you so much, each and every one of you, for joining us this evening. I'm so glad that you're here, and I really appreciate you stopping by. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So let's start off with, as I indicated, if you've been on social media, I know for some of y'all, you play it safe, and you in, maybe parts of the internet that's, it's a little crazy, but it's relatively calm, but Twitter it's a madhouse. It is Arkham Asylum. For those of you familiar with the Batman story, it is straight up Arkham Asylum on Twitter. I tell you, these people are nuts. You hear me? And so it got me thinking. I said, this was actually before the elections. What I did was I said, let me just get a list of what you call it, of herbs that people should consider, that are great for calming, for calming you. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't talking about weed, okay? So if you're looking for weed, we don't sell that, okay? At least not yet. But anyway, see, y'all messed that up. I could have got my loan to start up the Samba weed business. Oh, Samba weed. Anyway, so if you go to over to Samba Tree, our YouTube page, which is right here on your screen, and you see we got videos on there, and we'll be adding some more in the future. I'm trying to get a game plan together where I can just post things here regularly. It's been a little bit difficult, but if you go to the community page, and right here at the very top, I have a list of 10 herbal teas known for their calming and relaxing effects. So I'll just go through the list real quick. Make sure you take note, or you can just come right to the Samba Tree YouTube page and subscribe to it. And that way you can, you'll be able to see this. So anyway, I'll just go through it real quick. Chamomile, let's see, a classic choice. Chamomile is known for its gentle, calming effects. It reduces anxiety and aids in better sleep by acting as a mild tranquilizer and sleep inducer. Yeah, you can do that. And put in the chat too, if any of these are your favorite, put it in the chat. Let us know which one is your favorite. I'll be interested to see that. Lavender, of course, everybody knows about that. It's, with its floral, soothing aroma, lavender tea can help relieve stress, reduce anxiety, and promote a restful sleep. Its mild sedative effects can also calm an overactive mind. I need a whole lot of that. I don't know what happened. We used to get the lavender oil and put on our bed. We put it on our pillow. But that's another thing you can do in addition to. And so that's another thing. Passion flower, known for reducing anxiety and promoting better sleep. Passion flower tea is excellent for relaxation. It has natural compounds that help calm the mind and ease tension. Next one is lemon balm. Lemon balm is a member of the mint family. Lemon balm tea has a mild lemony flavor and is used to reduce stress, anxiety, and even even mild insomnia. Sorry about that. It's also known for lifting mood gently. All right. So this ain't like street drugs where you just go from low. The next thing you know, you just on 500. Okay. You don't want that. All right. All right. The next one, valerian root. Often used as a natural sleep aid, valerian root teas can help with stress and insomnia. Its earthy taste is often mixed with other herbs like peppermint to improve the flavor. Peppermint, known for its digestive benefits, peppermint tea also has a cooling, soothing effect that can help relax muscles and calm the nervous system, making it great for relieving tension. All right, 2 more, or 3 more actually. Holy basil. All right. Revered in Ayurvedic, hope I'm saying that right, medicine. I know what they're talking about. And another word for it is Tulsi. Tea is known for its adaptogenic properties that help the body manage stress. It also promotes a calm, alert state of mind. All right. Ashwagandha, often used in powder form for tea. Ashwagandha is another adaptogen. Hope I'm saying that right. That supports relaxation, reduces anxiety, and promotes resilience against stress over time. And then the last one here is skullcap. This lesser known herb is great for calming nerves and reducing anxiety. Skullcap tea has been used for centuries for stress relief and to help ease insomnia. And then it goes on with some other stuff there. So you can go to this list. If you like, hey, can you go back or whatever, just go over here to the Samba Tree YouTube page, all right, and just go under the community link right here, and we got it listed right there for you, okay? And yeah, so if you are someone that is, you're just, it's a lot of stress out here, with all the election stuff, and people, you see how people are just freaking out and acting up, and even you just seeing that, it's just building up some level of stress. Just know that there are things out here that you can take that are natural that can definitely help you with that. Okay, so there's no need for you to be stressed at all. Like I told you, the sun was going to shine the following day, and guess what? It did. And people are going to continue to go on with their lives. But it's only when you get on social media this is when you're seeing people just acting crazy and just completely losing their minds. And so, yeah, and that's it. You know what sticks out to me too, another thing, is I'm seeing a lot of people who are, adherents to the Bible, and they just, that's it for them. And they said, God said it, I believe it, and that settles it. But there's a passage in the Bible that says, God has not given you a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, love, and of a sound mind. That's what it says in the Bible. And so I sit back and I'm wondering, how is it that the people who are closest to the Bible seemingly have lost that? In other words, I'm seeing people who stand on this thing, and they're the main ones that are spreading fear and, misinformation. And, that's creating unsound minds out here. And so we're going to touch on that, so that's one of the things we're going to look at tonight on the, confronting some of the lies that are being spread out here. Like one of them is telling people that black people are going to basically turn into slaves, that we are now slaves. Now that Trump is back in office, black people now have turned into slaves. I'm kid you not. So you have that kind of rhetoric that's going on. Another piece of rhetoric that's being spread is that the rights of women are all being taken from them, that all their rights are gone. And you have grown people who are out here telling their 5, 6, 7-year-old little girls, that your rights are gone. And I'm just going to have to tell you that, it's going to be harder for you. Don't do that to your children. Don't do that to your children. I can't even remember what was going on politically when I was that age. And nor did I care during that time. Only thing I probably was caring about during that time was, let's see, what was on TV during that time? Ultraman. Not Voltron, that was later on, but some of the Munsters and some of the other stuff that used to come on TV, that's all I cared about. But to sit back and to watch how people are indoctrinating their children, the very thing that they're warning you that the government's going to do, a lot of these people are already doing it themselves. Why are you having sit down talks with your 6, 7-year-old little girl about abortion? I mean, you understand what I'm saying? But a lot of people are out there doing that. And so anyway, so we'll touch on that a little bit. We're also going to look at, do some history, a little bit, tiny bit. It's a clip that I found of Cesar Chavez. Cesar Chavez, as you know, he was someone, I think he was like a field worker, out in, I think it was out in California. And he's Mexican, and basically he didn't like how Mexicans were being treated, and all of that. So he started this whole movement and all of that. And people, particularly people on the left, like to use his legacy as a poster for their causes. But there was one particular issue that I think for some of you, you'll be very surprised on his stance on that. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to touch on that. Another thing we're going to touch on is the mayor of Baltimore. Well, he got reelected, so I guess congratulations for him. But, he had to make this long statement about Trump and, and what he had to do, his reaction to it. We're going to take a look at that. And then the other thing is we're going to look at Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, he was being interviewed on British television and about this whole thing, during the campaign season. And it was something that he said that really stuck out as far as what he observed, and I'm gonna play that clip as well. All right, and then there's some other little clips that I may show very quickly, but like I said, again, this broadcast, yes, last night that broadcast was a long one because that was just a catch-up one, but this one is not going to be as long at all. Okay, we're going to try to. Our goal is an hour. Okay, that's the goal. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Let's start off with this. I think this will be a good place to start. Let's go to our channel back here. And I posted a comic. I'm loving doing these comics because they get the message. I mean, it's just clear and direct, and it just gets it there. So anyway, this is what I just posted here over on our community page. Let's look at this real quick here. That's it. Okay. So the first square is going from left to right, and starting at the top, of course. The first one says, we're the choppers, and together we are voting our interest. The next one is, we're the Xiong's, and together we are voting our interest. And then you get to the third one, it says, we're the Garcias, and together we're voting our interest. And then you get to the black people and says, we're the... And then the husband, he's got this confused look on his face. He say, hon, I got some questions about policies here. And then, she done turned. She said, read the shirt and go and talk to pastor. And what does the shirt say? Shut up, a black woman is speaking. Now, in case you don't realize that, this is a shirt. This is a saying. It's on shirts. It's on coffee mugs. It's been out there, right? So it says, shut up, a black woman is speaking. So he goes to pastor. What does pastor have to tell him? God said that you have hatred towards women. So he's got to go tuck his tail and go back. And now we're the bakers, and together we are voting our interests. Now, why did I do that? Because this is when we look at the numbers here, when people are saying, black men and black women, they did their part. We voted pretty high, right? And that's true. And it was never really surprised that it was going to turn out that way. But there was a significant amount of black men who did not vote for Kamala. There was a significant amount, particularly in some races when you start going into not Iowa, Michigan. There was couple of other states where it was very close. And the way black men voted, it made a huge difference in the race. Between that and when you combine it with people who voted third party and all of that. But for the most part, like when you go to places like in Georgia and all of that, black men by and large did vote as predicted with, kind of almost at the same rate as black women. But when we go back and we take an honest look at the amount of coercion that took place in order to even get that number, that's the part that we're addressing and been addressing here, basically telling men that if you don't vote this way, that you are, spitting on your ancestors and you're disrespecting all black women and, all of that. Right. So men, I was telling my wife this the other day, I said, we actually like peace. I do. I like coming into a home, coming into our house, and it's peaceful. I do. Things can get tense as you're working throughout the day, but for the most part, we love peace. And if you're married to somebody or you have a significant other that's telling you, if you don't do this and just going after you like that, at the end of the day, some men are just going to be like, what the heck with it? It don't matter to me. I just want peace. I want to continue on living my life, and that's it. So I would be very curious at the percentage, and I don't know if we will ever get an answer off of this, of the percentage of men who did vote for Kamala. How much did it take for that to take? What was the proposition? You know what I'm saying? And I don't think we'll ever get that answer. But it was happening, especially when you had churches that went along with it. You remember we had we showed you the video of Kamala's pastor who was at New Birth, and he basically did this long prayer that was like 10 minutes long. And before he started the prayer, he had the men and the boys stand up. Remember that? And then basically used prayer as a way of manipulating these men into making them feeling so guilty and so bad if they dare voted for anybody else other than who they wanted to be in office, then somehow they are in some great and mighty sin. And so this was being played out literally all in churches all over America. And, you know, since churches are for the most part a women's organization, you know, it got played out. That lesson continued to get hammered at home and on social media. So, you know, there is a percentage of men who really didn't have that much of a choice but to vote that way. But I wonder if if the outcome would have been different if it wasn't that kind of pressure that was being put on them. And like I said, again, that's something that I don't know we'll ever find out the true answer on that one. But I'll tell you this, what I've been noticing on social media, what's been going on as of late, is that because the amount of white women, really, it was white women and Latino people, because the turnout for them was so high that went towards Trump. That's really the demographic that they're saying that really helped Trump to win. It was white women and it was the Latino community. And so what I'm seeing now on social media, on all throughout Twitter especially, are black women who are saying, that black women who are now saying, hey, listen, I ain't trying to do anything else for y'all no more. I don't want nothing to do with y'all. Don't come our way. Don't ask us for anything. We don't want to do nothing. We ain't trying to do nothing for y'all no more. We ain't marching for y'all. We are done. We are completely done with y'all. And we just tired. We're tired. We did all we could, but y'all ain't do nothing for us. And it really made me think, and that was the post that I did on earlier today. You know, going back here, let me just put this on the screen here. Is right here. You know, do you remember, you know, how when Kamala was selected, you know, to be, you know, to run for the office of the presidency, and around that time, and even before that, there was this saying that was going around, and it was all kinds of memes all on social media. A black woman is going to save the world. And, you know, black women, we have to time and time again, we got to save democracy. And they kept saying this over and over again. Well, when you unpack that, it may seem like an empowering message, but when they say save the world and save democracy, it's always rooted in the Democratic Party. That's the common thread. That's the common thread. Are they physically saving the world? No. Just like, are black men saving the world? No. You know what I'm saying? Or any other group? No, there is no saving of the world. So it saddens me to see this particular demographic put so much pressure on themselves and really think that they're really making some huge difference, and they're not. You're not. I hate to tell you, but I got to tell you because I'm about the truth. And so it's sad and just crazy to see the amount of unnecessary pressure and weight a lot of these black women put on their shoulders, really believing that somehow that they, by them getting an Indian woman in office, that they by default are going to be saving the United States or saving democracy. And because it didn't turn out the way they thought it was going to turn out, now they are looking for someone to blame. And, you know, black men, of course, are in that number, but they're now looking at white women and they're saying that white women, it's your fault because we did everything we're supposed to do and you didn't, and forget you and all that. Don't come to us again. Well, again, this is, and again, I got to be the bearer of truth here. That's self-deception. Because let me tell you something, white women have never lost sleep over you. Okay, let me just be clear for a second. White women, let me say, can I say it another way? White women have never lost any sleep over you. They never have, okay? White men have never lost any sleep over you. You are a good fire starter to get things on and popping. But when it comes to the management, when it comes to the interworkings of their system, they don't call on you and they don't need you. Do you want to know, and do you want a clear-cut example here? Do you want one? Let me give it to you. One of the biggest complaints that was being mentioned and mumbled during the Kamala campaign was the fact that she had too many white people around her. Have you seen her her social media team, which by the way was Obama's social media team? You can look that up. And you can count on probably two fingers the amount of black people that were on there. So the higher it gets up, the less people who look like you are really running the show. They don't need you. You're good for the show. You're good for the narrative. But at the end of the day, they don't depend on you to run anything. They don't. Okay. Obama, remember we showed the video that we did. If you go back, here you had a black woman who was on the inside of the Obama White House. And she said this herself. She talked about how Obama, they protected him from being too black. Now, if they did that for Obama, what do you think they were going to do for her? No different. So it's this self-deception that you see, that you're hearing from these people thinking that you impotent. You know what I mean? But you're only impotent in the theater of your own imagination. They never for you to actually believe that it's self-deception. And that's why I go back to that little cartoon that I did just to show what was one of the things that that just should never have happened. Black men and black women, just like all other groups, we have interests. We have self-interest, right? These white women, at the end of the day, even though you had a huge percentage of white women that did vote for Kamala, there was also another significant amount of white women who did not. And this whole assumption that all women by default are going to vote for Kamala, it was just, I'm like, what mathematician, what person even comes up with that conclusion? You know what I mean? But that's how these people were thinking. And so at the end of the day, they voted on their own self-interest. And I wrote about this in the post I did earlier, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Just like the Latino community, they voted for their own self-interest. Just like the other groups, they voted for their own self-interest. But you know what happened during this elections? Black women were told to go against their own black men if they had to, and to claim that they can do it themselves. But what we're finding out today, they needed a Robin. But Robin had to be a white woman. So they assumed. But then they found out that Robin ain't checking for y'all. So they went, so unfortunately, that's what's being revealed today. And so this black woman, she's a commentator, very good, very sharp. And Brianna Joy, I think that's her name. She used to be a commentator on The Hill, but then they kicked her out because of her stance on Israel. And so now she has her own podcast. It's called Bad Faith Podcast. She's a Green Party, not libertarian, sorry, progressive Green Party person, but she's very smart. And she said something. She was commentating, or she left a comment on, it was a black woman who posted something, and she was just going on talking about, don't bother us anymore, white women, leave us alone, we ain't gonna come for your rescue, going through all of that. And she said, what's unfortunate about this is that in 4 years, these same women that are saying this on social media are going to be right back to square one, and they're going to be right back trying to do the same thing that they did in this election. As long as they do not come together and come together with a plan. This is, and I'm paraphrasing what she said, which was very good. You got to come together with a plan that excludes the Democrat Party. You have been complaining years and years and years about the Democratic Party and how they don't take you for granted. How many times have we heard that? But what happens? You get the person in office, and then you're like, oh, y'all don't take us for granted. You don't take us for granted. And the Democrat Party said, okay, we're going to make you whatever. We'll give you an office. And then they're like, okay, all right, we're good with that. Settling just for the crumbs. But now we're at a place right now where they're actually seeing that, dang, we can do all this, and this system still doesn't care for us. So what black women when I say black women, again, black women who are politically active, the focus needs to be, you can talk about organization all you want, but it has to exclude the Democratic Party. You got to exclude that to be taken seriously. And let's take it a step further. Next 4 years from now, you can't, let's say, for example, if they said we're going to build our own party. Okay, go ahead and do that. If you're going to build your own party and exclude men, it's going to fail. All right. If you build your own party with the anticipation that if Democrats notice and they say, you know what, we kind of need your numbers. I tell you what, we promise to make you, and y'all can have these positions. And then what's going to happen is they'll take all those numbers and then dump them back into the Democratic Party. If that's your mindset and that's how you plan it, that's not going to work either. So there's got to be real organization at that level. But I don't see it happening. I don't see that ever. I don't see that coming to pass at all. I just see more crying and just more wailing and all of that. But that ain't happening. That ain't going to happen. And it's just going to continue to be more of the same. All right. So anyway, let's get to Twitter here. And what was some of the things I wanted to touch on real quick? Let's see. Which one do I go to here first? Let's go to this one right here. Now, already things are starting to change. It was already leaning in this direction. But in New York, Mayor Eric Adams, now all of a sudden he caught the Holy Spirit. Because now Eric Adams, guess what he just declared? Let's take a look and listen at this video. Take a listen.
News, the mayor just announced that the city will no longer issue vouchers to migrants to pay for food, ending a controversial program that had repeatedly come under attack by conservatives and others.
This pilot program in New York City, drenched in both humanity and controversy, distributed debit cards to migrant families staying in city-funded hotels and allowing them to buy their own food. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Einiger following the breaking news for us.
Bill, it's a program that, as you say, generated plenty of controversy, but now its absence may raise even more questions. The so-called Immediate Response Cards pilot program was designed to help feed migrant families who'd found themselves in New York with no way to afford food. The one-year contract provided what the city described as culturally relevant food to 2,600 migrant families, allowing them to basically buy what they wanted. A family of four with two kids under 5 got about $350 per week to cover food in a program the city said would actually save taxpayers millions a year. It also reduced food waste. You may remember the food the city had been providing in migrant shelters was seen as not culturally sensitive to the needs of some migrant groups, and it ended up just going to waste. For more than a year, the city was groaning under the weight of more than 200,000 asylum seekers. Officials say the migrant population has actually reduced lately. In fact, a massive shelter on Roosevelt Island is in the process of closing. In the meantime, Mayor Adams spoke on the phone yesterday with President-elect Donald Trump, who had vowed during his campaign to mass deport migrants. Aside from congratulating him on his win, though, Adams today would not say what they discussed.
Well, we know what happened. We know what happened. We may not have heard the discussion, but we know what happened. Eric Adams, he caught the Holy Ghost. He caught the Holy Ghost. Do I have some church music? If I had a button, I would. He caught it, y'all. You got to do the circle now around him. He caught it, y'all. He's filled. Canceled that thing real quick. He canceled that thing real quick. Now, in the meantime, there are other governors and mayors that are all rushing to the media and saying, I wish Trump would try to come and take our people and all of that. So they still want to fight against the law. They still want to fight against the law. and saying, and no, if you're in this country illegally, this is not about, and this is one of the things that people are throwing out. One of the scare tactics, I put that out right now. One of the lies they're putting out is that they're saying the Latino community, this is one of the big lies, is that you're going to see Latinos just get flushed out completely. Well, come on. You're assuming that all Latinos are in this country illegally? No. Now, they got relatives. They may have relatives that are coming into the country illegally, but not all of them, right? And so, no, it's about illegal immigration. Illegal. If you come into this country illegally, what Trump is promised is that he said, we're going to cut it off. We're going to stop. We're done. You know what I mean? We're going to do that. Now, what's my personal belief? Is he going to be able to successfully do he was putting out this, he's saying that there's going to be massive deportations. Do I believe that? I believe we'll see an increase, but is it going to be what people are trying to paint? No, I don't think you're going to see, just huge trucks and all this other stuff like some end of the world movie or something like that. It ain't going down like that, because at the end of the day, the economy that we have right now, it's so intertwined with the need for illegal immigrant labor. You can't just pull the plug. That's it. You understand what I'm saying? So it's going to be something that's going to be gradual. But what people are putting out, these scare tactics, they're trying to make it seem that, ICE is just going to be randomly going through Latino communities and just snatching people out. Not exactly. Okay, not exactly. The other thing is, what was I going to say? I'm seeing an uptick, and I showed you yesterday, uptick of people who are volunteering. I mean, they're saying some very nasty things about Latinos now. Well, now for those of you who are in the Latino community, now you're getting a preview of what we've been going through. Okay, what we already been going through. They're going after them now. All that love and we got to take care of the dreamers. You see how they switched? You saw that switch? Well, we know all about that. We know as black Americans, we know all about that. And so people have been attacking them, saying some very horrible racist things. And then you got people who are even volunteering and saying that they're going to call ICE themselves on people that they think are in this country illegally. And I'm like, wow, where's all the joy and love now? Where's all the joy and love that you're going to do? I thought y'all were, and someone did a video, it was funny, where they actually, they got some paid actors that were like Hispanic, and they brought them into a community that's very left leaning. And they said, okay, well, I know you guys are, really about wanting to help, people who come into this country illegally and all that. And it was like, yes, that's right. He said, okay, well, we got a whole van right here or some right here. You think you can take them right now? Because they really need a place to stay. And all of a sudden they were like, but I can't. All of a sudden, I'm gonna start coming up. But it was a very funny video. If I had it queued up, I would play it for you. But anyway, but yeah, so ain't that funny though, how, Eric Adams, man, he caught the spirit now all of a sudden, but he's already been kind of going down that road. And, because he was getting tired of it. He was getting tired of it, and black people in his city were getting tired of it too. And so, so when he went public with his opposition to how Biden White House was handling it, then that's when Biden and them cut him off. And next thing you know, he getting all these lawsuits from all these different people from all this foolishness. But anyway, let's move on to this next story here now. Latita, hope I'm saying her name right, James. Now, I don't know if you saw the press conference she did, and she cutting her eyes and moving the neck and all that, and saying that I wish he would, basically, I'm paraphrasing, try to do something, because we've been preparing for months, if he tries to do something and try to come after us and all of this stuff. And so, again, now making it personal. They've been saying all along that Trump, he's going to retaliate and he's going to be personal, and he's going to make it personal and go after people and all that. Now, is that going to happen? I kind of doubt that's going to happen, but low key, there may be some things that may be happening behind the scenes. But anyway, someone did this video. I thought it collaged. This was pretty interesting. Let's take a listen and look at this one.
The President of the United States has complained that I'm engaging in some sort of political witch hunt, that I've got some personal vendetta against him, that I campaigned against him. That is not true.
This illegitimate president who sits in the White House. That president, because he's not my president, he's an illegitimate president. His days are numbered. His days are numbered. We've got to get ready to mobilize, and we've got to get ready to agitate and irritate until victory is won, but more importantly, until Trump is defeated. We will all rise up and resist this man, and ultimately we'll bring him down. This illegitimate president, I'm going to give you the same level of respect that you gave to President Obama, and that is absolutely no respect at all. Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go. Hey, hey! Ho, ho! And the days of Donald Trump are numbered. Lock him up. Lock him up. What? Lock him up. What? Lock him up. What? Lock him up. What?
That is not true.
But here's the thing now. Now, her responsibility was to try this man. Now, I don't know if you've been following the case, you know, that she had against him. Well, I showed y'all in a broadcast not too long ago that was taken to the state Supreme Court. The state Supreme Court is about ready to throw it out because they're like, okay, this is a bunch of not BS. It doesn't make any sense, the argument that you're trying to make. And so, you know, but when you got somebody like that, imagine being tried by someone like this, right? We oftentimes, particularly as black folks, we have some legitimate complaints about the legal system, right? And just imagine the state that's coming against you, the main person that's coming against you, they're acting as if they were walking the straight and narrow. In reality, they're in the streets protesting against you. I mean, what kind of justice is really that? You know what I mean? It's just, it's something. But anyway, let's move right along here. Let me see what the next thing I have for y'all. It was, I'll just play this one here. This is more of the lies, and this is a short one here. Take note of the guy's, what he wants to be called here. I'm trying to make it large so that it'll come on the screen. You'll be able to see it here. Take note, they, them. So you already know where this is going. You already know where this is going to go. So listen to this person.
Why are we comfortable with the idea that a vote would be a thing that determines whether or not we are slaves? If a vote can determine whether or not we are slaves, then we got to do something else.
Nobody's going to be a slave. Nobody's going, but this is what they've been putting out is that, and I've heard multiple people say that. Was it a clip that I played last night? Someone was saying that if they don't, what did they say? They said if they were afraid to go to sleep last night because if they went to sleep, what would happen is they would turn into slaves in the morning. This is the kind of nonsense that's out here now. Anyway, in the meantime, let's go to, let's see what the next one is. And otherwise, I'll just switch the main topics here. Let me go to this one here. Okay, Cesar Chavez. Now, I was just talking about him, and I was just telling you that earlier that, you know, Cesar Chavez, he has been held up by the left for a very long time. Supposedly as a champion for illegal immigration. This is what, you know, we're led to believe. But this is Cesar Chavez here, and I've known this about him. Cesar Chavez was not a fan of illegal immigration. I want you to take a listen to what he had to say when it comes to illegal immigration. Particularly, I want you to pay attention to the language that he's using, okay? Let's take a listen.
We estimate 60 to 70% of the farm workers in California, of the resident worker, of the citizen, is out of a job because of the wetbacks. They're coming in by the thousands, just unbelievable. See, they're coming in with the consent of the Immigration Service, which is part of the Department of Justice. How else could they come? We, for instance, know that if you go to Coachella, you go to around the El Paso area, the secondary immigration checkpoints have been unmanned now for at least 3-4 weeks. They're closed. They're at night. They're dark. There aren't any patrolmen there. It's a gimmick. We think that it's a prelude at the beginning to a big drive on the part of the administration and the Mexican government to bring the Bracero program again. It's a vicious attack on the local worker, and it's just one of those things that agribusiness thinks they can get away with it. And our job is to inform the whole country what's happening, together with a boycott, and solve it that way. And so the workers themselves, even though a lot of them are Mexican descendancy themselves, are very uptight and very, very worried and very mad about the illegals coming to break their strikes, and it takes away their jobs, their livelihood, and so forth.
Does that put you in an uncomfortable position to be against the illegal immigrants because they are from Mexico? In other words, part of your program has been an appeal to equal treatment of people of Mexican origin, right?
Oh yeah, sure, but we're speaking of the legal ones. You know, we don't want Mexico to export its poverty to us.
Oh my goodness. History has a way of telling the truth, don't it? He said we don't want to have Mexico exporting their poverty to us. I also heard that they were saying one of the districts that went red for Trump, it had like over 90% Latino community. These people are leaving their own countries for a reason. And so, especially, like I said, again, when you come into the country legally, if you're in this country legally, and that I have a relative who came into this country, in-law, who came into this country legally. And it took, when she was telling us all the stuff that she had to go through just to get her paperwork, and then got to go for this interview, then got to go for that interview, and then you got to pay this fee, then you got to pay that fee, then you got to go for another interview, and you got to do all this stuff. She was telling us all this rigmarole that people have to go through just to become a citizen. So it becomes an insult when you do all the right things to get into this country, and then you looking over your shoulder and you're seeing all these people who just kind of just jump across, and they're getting handed money and all that other stuff, benefits and all of that. How you think that's going to make them feel? So again, these people, you know, when they think of these groups like black people are the only groups, unfortunately, politically, we have operated group think politically. When you look at how the other groups voted, it's very diverse. For example, when you look at how white women voted, when you look at how white men voted, when you look at these other groups, how they voted, it's very spread out and it's very diverse. Black people, we're taking pride of the fact that we're voting 80+% for one party. So you don't have any power for that when you vote that way. But Latinos, in this case, from LB's like, we don't want them. And you heard what he called them. W-backs. You know, I don't know if the YouTube guys, if they are crazy if I use the name. You heard what he called them. Because he understood that if you allow these people to come in illegally, they're going to take our jobs. We don't want that. But they're now being called all kinds of racist names for wanting to vote for their own self-preservation. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's no different than what Black Americans are going through right now. The Black Americans who want tighter borders, for example, you know, they're seeing an influx of how Africans, people coming from the continent, you know, in some quarters, how they're getting more benefits than, let's say, Black Americans who were born and raised here. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's already getting bad enough when we look at movies, for example, which is a tiny sector, but I'm just using this as an example. When you look at these movies, you see nothing but people from Africa that are playing these roles. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what we're talking about. There's got to be an acknowledgement of the diversity of thought that we do have as a people. That just has to translate into how we operate and move politically. You understand what I'm saying? Because politically, we're too groupthink, and that's why things never get done or accomplished. So anyway, there you go. That's history talking to you, slapping you in the face. Anyway, let's move on here to the next video there. Let's see, what else did I have? What else did I have on there? I know I had this one, but let me play for you this one here.
Becoming a pregnant dad. And
this is something just for observation. Just for observation. Here you go. I'm just gonna go ahead and play it.
I am fulfilling my dreams and becoming a pregnant dad. In the beginning, I had a few complications. She's been growing and she's healthy, and I haven't had any complications since then. It's been very good with the support of the doctors. I haven't had any bad experiences with me going to the doctor. They know I'm transgender and carrying my own child.
He's gonna be a wonder dad.
I just know that this is gonna be a good thing for the family. You've been good with everybody else's kid. We got to see what you do with your own.
I want to give my child a great childhood. She will always have me. I will always be there. My responsibility will always to be take care of her. I am fulfilling my dreams and becoming.
This is the kind of stuff I'm saying that straight men that of a good character, this is the kind of stuff we're drawing a line to. And you notice, where was the father? Where was the father in that situation? We don't know the backstory on all of that, but the question is, where was the father in that situation? Because that ain't the father. And then the fact that you want to lie and tell that child when that child comes out that this is your daddy, I'm like, why daddy got titties? You know what I mean? Why am I getting breastfed by my dad? You understand? You see the confusion that's being interwoven into what we call today Black culture? You understand what I'm saying? And there's roots to that, and to what gets people to that point. Those are the things that we need to have honest conversations and address these things honestly, but we're never going to get there when we have these institutions baked into our own community that are promoting this stuff. This is what I was touching on our last broadcast, where you got churches that are promoting this stuff now. I was just literally watching this interview by Marvin Sapp, and he was being asked about his thoughts about homosexuality. I'm sure you guys have seen this. And he was like, they asked him his thoughts on it, and he was just umming with it. And he said, see, what my opinion is, the Bible, it says one thing, but so that's going to be an interesting conversation, because again, I'm really going to be appealing to the LGBT community to take part in it, because I do want to hear your thoughts on it. And it's not any kind of attack at all. We just want to get to the root of this thing. What got you to that point? Because I know on this platform, we firmly know and believe that nobody's born that way, because there's far too many stories of people who may start off like that at an early age, but then once they get older, they say, you know what, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to be my biological self. But what infuriates people like myself and others is when you have people who will say, equate that to someone who's born Black. You understand what I'm saying? We don't have the luxury of turning our color. You understand what I'm saying? You have the luxury of turning who you choose to emulate or sleep with. We don't. You know what I mean? It's just, that's how it works. But anyway, but that's going to be an interesting conversation, because again, I'm really wanting to, go there and have that conversation, because I think it's much needed. But anyway, let's move on here. This is the mayor of Baltimore. Let's take a listen to him. Like I just told you earlier, he was just elected again to being mayor of Baltimore. And I want you to take a listen to, this is his speech and his reaction to Trump being reelected. Let's take a listen to that, okay? Let's go.
I'm obviously extremely disappointed in the results, but it is clear that there will be a second Trump presidency. It is really on my heart this morning to say that as a man, but more importantly as a black man, that this country does not deserve black women or black people, but specifically black women. This morning I woke up and I just gave my wife a hug because I know how heavy this is weighing on black women. And they have carried this country and saved this country too many times and continue to be the most disrespected human beings on the planet. And it, quite frankly, it disgusts me. I'm thinking about the world that we're going to bring our daughter into in a few months. And I want the vice president to know that her and her team did everything right in the right way. But the unfortunate reality is that this country is still steeped in racism, sexism, and misogyny. I am personally proud of her, and I know that so many others are the same. We appreciate her tenacity, her focus, her decency, and how she handled herself throughout this campaign. And I don't want to hear anybody saying that they should have done something different. She should have been running longer. The fact is that they did everything that a campaign can do and more. But we as a country really have a lot of soul searching to do. And that's really what I want to say about that today. But I want black women to hear from me to know that as a black man, I am going to triple my efforts to lift them up, to make sure that they're supported, to make sure that they're seen, and to make sure that other folks are challenged into understanding that they alone can't be the soul of this democracy, and that they alone can't save us from ourselves time and time again.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there, but basically, let me just say this. Number one, black women, as I've said before, and I'll continue to say it, outpace black men on college campuses all across America, which means that once they graduate, they have a much higher chance of being the ones that are hiring and firing black men, black women, and white men, Hispanic people, and all of that. They are the ones that are slowly occupying seats in the corporate in corporate spaces. Okay, so these are all very true. We all know this to be true. Black women have made many strides in this country, and they continue to do it. From entrepreneurship, from everything else, they continue to do it. And the amount and the level of ignorance. Now, like I said again, I congratulate this young man for becoming, he's gotten at least, he won the confidence again of his citizenry, and that's something of note. But I have to address the amount of ignorance that he allowed to flow out of his mouth on this. Because by making that statement, what you are literally doing is that you're taking a huge dump on the many accomplishments real black women have made throughout this country, throughout the history of this country. And how dare you ignore that in favor of a woman who's not even black? And I'm going to keep on saying that because it's already been proven true. All of these Negroes that are out here that are still standing on their last breath, trying to still make the case that this woman is black, she's not. They've already been disproven. And there's no way, like I said again, in heaven, in hell, in purgatory, or any place in between, that I'm going to equate that woman to my wife, to my daughter, to my mother, or any other wonderful black woman that I know, because I know the struggles that they have to deal with and the stuff that they have to deal with as black women. Do you understand what I'm saying? I've seen them at their highs and I've also seen them at their lows. And it's been an honor. It's been an honor to be a black man that's been there to help support and to uplift our black women through all of those, through thick and thin. It's been a high honor to do it. And it's one of the greatest joys of my life to be able to do that. And so at the same time, I'm not going to allow someone to come in to try to hijack that and pretend that they are one of you. They're not. Do you understand what I'm saying? She's not. 100% she's not. That's boule talk. The boule has convinced the masses that this woman is black, because the only qualifier that the boule, and we touched on this last night, the only qualifier that they're looking for is someone that's got a tinge of black, maybe, which she doesn't. She went to an HBCU, that was the other qualifier, and she is pledged to one of their Greek letter organizations. That's the qualifier. That's why they keep saying she's our sister. When you hear them say, this is our sister, this is our sister, this is our sister, what they're saying is they're not saying that she's our sister like, you know, like black people say, that's my brother, that's my sister, that kind of thing. No, they're talking in their own language of, you know, fraternity and sorority talk. They're not talking like that's my sister or that's my brother there, like we normally do. They're not talking like that. That's what they're just giving. They have convinced the masses of black folks, this is your sister. But it's already been disproven that this woman is not black. She's not. And again, for this man, young man, to get up here and to pretty much take a huge dump, and now again, he's putting on a cape again. Now I'm going to get out here and I'm going to triple the amount of effort that I'm going to do. I ain't tripling nothing. It's hard enough to just to support what we got on the first level. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to, now I'm going to triple my support for my people. No, I'm not, because I don't need to. The Creator has given me everything I need to support our black women. I have everything I need. I don't have to shift this engine into triple and quadruple overtime to support our black women. I ain't got to do that. Everything I need, I've already been given. This is how people get driven crazy, by buying into this kind of nonsense. I ain't got to do that. And so the ones that I am here to support and to love and to cherish and to honor, though it's been already organized. They already are the ones that are near me. I ain't got to look for them. And, you know, it ain't many, but it's enough. You know what I'm saying? And everything I need, everything that's in me, our Creator has already given me to give them all the love and the support and all that they need. I ain't got to be out here and I'm just running myself crazy. Oh, we got to do something for these. No, I'm not doing that. Because there's also some people out here that don't need my support. They don't want it. And that's okay too. But it's just this foolish talk here that it has to be shut down. That's got to be shut down completely. And yeah, so, you know, it's this kind of stuff that I'm glad for now we have social media so that we can talk this stuff out and call this stuff out for what it is, because it is a bunch of crap. It really is. All right, let's move on here. I want to get to this video here, and this was Dr. Phil. I want you to take a listen to what he had to say here real quick. I'll be trying to aim for that 1 hour. I guess I'm definitely getting it now, because I'm almost finished here. All right, Dr. Phil, he was recently on this show here on Piers Morgan, and I want you to take a listen to, you know, he's given explanation as to why he showed up at one of Trump's rallies. All right, I want you to take a listen to it. Let me go ahead and hit play.
You know, you said that after all this time, I had become I quit being apolitical, and that's really not true. I knew when I spoke at the Trump rally, that everybody would go, oh, there he is. He's gone political. But that was an act of rebellion on my part, because I requested 25 plus times to speak to Kamala Harris, and never got so much as a yes, no, maybe. Just wouldn't agree to.
Really?
An interview. I asked to speak to her. I asked to speak. Maybe Robin and I sit down with she and her husband. Asked to have a dinner interview, and there are people that are very close. That I have very close friends in the power structure of the Democratic Party who know me well and said, let me tell you something. He would never disrespect the office of the president or vice president of the United States because he thinks it's a terrible look internationally. So listen, he is a cross-examiner. He did spend his life in litigation arena. But I promise you, this is not an ambush interview that he's going to hammer you. He thinks that's a bad look for the United States to the rest of the world. I can tell you personally, as a friend of yours, as a member of the Democrat Party, and knowing him for 20 or 30 years, I will stake my personal reputation that will not happen. Please sit down with him. And nope, won't do it. And some of the reasons given were we've seen him cross-examine people in criminal cases on his show. We've seen him where he won't move off a question until it's answered. Just absolutely not going to do it. And I said, when I gave the speech at the Trump rally, I offered to give the identical speech at a Harris rally, said I will cross out Trump's name, write in Harris's name, and give the identical speech at a Harris rally. And the morning after, we got contacted by somebody that we had been talking to in the Harris camp in writing, so I have the text, to my producer, Sarah, that said, is he serious? He'll give that speech at a Harris rally, because if he will, we're interested in him coming to the DC rally. And she wrote back, she talked to me, and I said right back and say, absolutely, tell me when and where to be, and I will bring a transcript of the speech and give it at a Harris rally. And she answered accordingly. Crickets. Never heard another word. Once they found out I was serious, they never heard another word.
Now, that's an interesting claim. I see, Juaneo, what you're saying, but that's an interesting claim, as far as he said he reached out to him 25 times, and all we can go with is his claim. But a couple of things that stuck out to me, though, and what he was saying was, number one, how, what was it? Slipped my mind. He had the same speech written for, he said, I'll just cross out Trump's name and, I'll just put your name there or whatever. And what that showed me is that all these people that were giving these rousing speeches for these candidates, at the end of the day, y'all, they're getting paid. They're getting paid. They're going to the highest bidder. I did see something earlier. Okay, let me go back here. I thought this was a little funny. It was on TMZ. I can't find it. I didn't have it. But basically, it was a couple of people that were, now they're suing each other. And these same people were the main ones that was promoting Kamala. But anyway, that was the first thing that stuck out to me. But the other thing is that if his claim is true and what he's saying, isn't this really interesting? Because did they actually pass over Dr. Phil so that they can get Glorilla, so that they can get an endorsement from Sexy Red, so that they can get an endorsement from Beyonce and all these other and Lady Gaga? I mean, is that how that much they really thought of the demographic that they were targeting? I mean, that's really something, and it does say a whole lot if that is the case, if that is true. Moving right along here, let me see. I have one more thing here that I was, oh, that's what it was. I was trying to figure out, it was actually two things. This is real quick here. All right, so what I'm going to do, this is another one of the lies that are being put out here, as far as Trump and him wanting to deal with abortion, and he's going to take away abortion rights. So what I'm going to do is let me go to his page here, and here it is. This is right here on Twitter, and he posted this on October, and I'll make this bigger for you. And again, this is just debunking lies. Okay. And this says, everyone knows I would not support a federal abortion ban under any circumstance and would in fact veto it because it is up to the states to decide based on the will of their voters, the will of the people. Like Ronald Reagan before me, I fully support the 3 exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I do not support the Democrats' radical position of late-term abortion, like as an example in the 7th, 8th, or 9th month, or in case there is any question, the possibility of execution of the baby after birth. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So he's very clear on his abortion stance. Now, again, I didn't support him. I didn't vote for him because, again, I don't, I'm 100% against abortion. Now, if you're talking about, let's say, if it's the life of the mother, of course, you leave that decision to the mother when it comes to stuff like that. But some of these other cases here, it's, no, because there are other solutions for that. And I do get the psychological impact of those things. I do get that. But is it worth offing the baby over that? I personally don't think so. But, and so, yeah, so, that's just my thought on that. But but like I said, again, I could not vote for him, especially on matters like that. So anyway, but that was one thing. Another thing that I wanted to, another lie that I wanted to confront real quick here. Well, it's actually, oh man, this thing keeps coming up. I'm sorry, y'all. We'll look at my time here. Okay, let me look at this. Let me share with you this real quick here. All right, so I'm not going to go through all of this, but when it comes to immigration, see a lot of attention, U.S. media attention is put on, the United States, we really gotta relax our stance on it. We can't be so mean when it comes to immigration. We got to open our borders. Well, honey, did you ever take a look at some of the illegal immigration policies of countries in Central and South America? Just do a Google, do a Chat GPT search. I'm not going to read all of these, just for the sake of time, but every country from Mexico to Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Brazil, a lot of these countries, their immigration policies, they're a lot stricter than the United States, And so this is the stuff that gets overlooked, because they want to try to paint this picture that we're being so mean because we want to enforce border control. But no, we're trying to catch up to what these countries in Central and South America are doing. Meanwhile, the countries in Central and South America, they're sending their people over here. But anyway, that's just another lie. Take the time and look it up yourself. Don't buy into the nonsense that they're putting out here. The answers are out here. Okay. One last thing here. I covered this before, but I'll talk about it again. Trump did, in fact, say again that he wanted to give police officers blanket protections from lawsuits. Okay, that's what he said. All right. So you have people out here that are running with that so hard, and they're claiming that, just imagine a world that police, they're going to be immune. They're not going to be able to be sued or anything like that. Well, hello, you actually live in that world now. This is an article that was posted in the Washington Post, okay, some time ago. This was last year, December 23rd of last year. Trump vows to indemnify the police. Experts say that's already a reality in most departments. So what Trump was promising as far as like making them immune, it was the equivalent of Kamala saying that she's going to give a special loan for black people. But when we looked at the details, the special loan was just an SBA loan, which already exists. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you take the time, you can look this article up on your own there, take a screenshot of it, look through it on your own time. They go through it and they tell you that most states already have, it's very difficult to sue cops. It's already there. So he's not going to do anything different that's already in existence. So you got people out here, and I was just going through my timeline today, that are scaring people and making you think that, oh my God, that now that he's president, now all of a sudden they're just going to be ripping black people out of their homes and going to be throwing us in the back of police cars and all this other stuff. No, that's not true. That is not true for what we already have. The main thing is, number one, we got to stop trying to defend people who are breaking the law. If you are breaking the law, then I'm sorry, I'm not going to waste my time or energy trying to defend you. You understand what I'm saying? You put yourself in that position. Now, when we have cases where police do cross the line, we got a system that you make enough noise, justice will ultimately be brought in most cases. All right. But this whole fantasy, this sick fantasy that you have people who are so full of fear that are spreading these lies and want to make it seem that, oh my God, now what's going to happen is that people now, they're going to be ripped out of their homes and they're going to pull people out of their houses and they're going to start arresting black people left and right. And, here's a black woman right here saying this. And some people, they're ready to shake it in our faces here. Hold on for a second here. It's right here. Here's one right here. This woman she said to the black men in Georgia that voted for Trump, next time a cop has their knee on y'all's neck, please leave us black women out of it. She's not the only one. There's been many, many, many people out here reflecting this same sentiment, that they truly believe that they just willy-nilly just going to start going off on black people and all of that. And there is no evidence at all whatsoever that proves that to be true. None. But there are plenty of people who like scaring the hell into people to make you feel, to give you, to take away fear, rather to put fear in you. Okay, we are not to be a fearful people. Okay, that's plantation talk. Don't let these people scare you into your future. No, not at all. And you need to stop doing that. And for these parents that are out here scaring your 5, 6, 7-year-old and talking about, oh, Trump in office, and your child like, who Trump? What are you talking about? I don't know. And they crying more than the children are. Meanwhile, again, these are the voices that we got out here that just acted a fool, and they're spreading all kinds of panic. Here's someone here.
Congratulations, y'all got what y'all wanted. I don't want to hear nobody complaining about shit, because I don't give a damn. I don't give a fuck if they shut the whole earth down. Oh, motherfucking well. A hurricane send prayers. Bitch, fuck them prayers. Bitch, I hope the hurricane wash the whole goddamn state away with y'all dumb asses. Y'all getting here talking about y'all vote for Kamala. Y'all knew y'all wasn't voting for her from the first place. Bitch, y'all get to the polls voting for this goddamn orange ass fucking.
Woo. When I tell you, I have enough videos. I was just telling my son, I said, I think I got enough videos right now to make a whole hour compilation of that kind of energy coming from black women who voted for her and also gay men. And this is the demographic. This is the exact demographic that the churches have been promoting and protecting. And that's what we're going to be getting into, because that has to stop. That has to end, and they're going to have to be held accountable to it. And we're going to do our part on that. This is another one. Just listen to the delirious logic here.
Okay, so since Trump won the election, we're cooked. Yup. I'm going to be leaving the U.S. and I'm going to be moving to Hawaii. So we'll see how it goes, and I'll update you guys.
Yep, you do that. Yep, leave the U.S. and go to Hawaii. Yep, I've heard Hawaii is a very wonderful country to visit. Yeah, except that Hawaii is part of the United States. But anyway, there's plenty more, that I could show you. But like I said, again, I'm trying to protect our energy, because the amount of meltdown videos that I have. Black women, listen, we love you. We love you. We love you. We love you very much on this platform. We do. But we're also going to be truth tellers, right? And we can build with you, and we want to. And there's plenty of you who are already doing it. So a lot of this stuff that we're saying, it may not apply to you, but it does apply to a demographic, unfortunately, that bought into this nonsense. And we are going to have to make some very tough decisions, going forward, because there's a lot of separation that's going to need to take place in the days ahead, and we're going to have to be brave enough to do it. So anyway, that's it, y'all. That is all I have for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to this broadcast. Listen, you guys take care and enjoy the rest of your evening. And we'll be doing this maybe tomorrow. If not, I'm trying to think this weekend, we're going to get into our whole thing with the going into the church and the history of that and all that kind of stuff. We'll be doing that. Okay. All right, y'all, listen, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you again soon.